Welcome, everybody, to Rebellious Ruth. And tonight we have a very special guest with us, the freedom loving Lebang. Welcome,
Woo
Lebang.
woo! Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Rebellious Ruth. How are you
Yes,
this evening?
yes, we're all good. Okay. And we are on time. We said we would start at 8:45, and it is WAP 8:45.
Look at us. Oh, so proud of us. Love it.
So, yeah, like we were just saying, we meant to do this, and it took us some time to get our stuff together, consulting the
Mm,
kids, but we're doing it. Um,
yeah,
and I was going to obviously start the podcast by asking you, where your career began, sort of
sure,
with
sure.
with broadcasting.
Yeah, no, definitely. Hi to everyone in the comment section. I see some very familiar faces, which is really exciting. Ruth, I actually started my broadcast career in like 2011, 2012, very long time ago, back in the day, on another internet radio station called Rhythm 100. Remember when you had to like dial up and then every time you connect to the internet, it would go, those sounds. It was that long ago. And then
Sure.
after that, in 2014, I went to YFM as an intern and something called the Y Academy, which was really cool because they'd literally just like audition thousands of people who thought they had the gift and then they'd choose 10. So I made it in that 10, which was really amazing. And yeah, after that, I just kind of wormed my way through weekend radio, which was great. Then I did weekend breakfast, which was even better. And then I did weekday breakfast as a co-host, and then I did weekday drive as a co-host. So I was just like always everybody's co-host. Um, unfortunately, never got a chance to do like my own show, and so at some point I just got an opportunity to move into television production, which is also on my bucket list of things I want to do. So I was like,
Wow.
work at ETV, stay at YFM, work at ETV. I was like, let me go work at ETV. So yeah, and then I decided to just cross over into TV production, which was also just amazing. I guess that's also broadcast in its own way. You know, it's
Hmm.
it's it's storytelling, it's interviewing people, it's bringing the right story to the right audience. So I just got an opportunity to just continue doing what I love. And then lo and behold, one day the angels fell upon me, and here I am at Cliff Central doing what I love even more, which is really, really great. It's really exciting.
Which is what? Just letting flow, giving your opinion. There's sort
Yeah.
of no
Yeah, so
rules as such.
yeah, I
Or
mean, there's definitely rules, but there's less rules than with commercial radio. I mean, Cliff Central really is a place where if you know what you're talking about, then this is the right place to do it. You're not given a script. You're not told what to say. You're allowed to be your free self, which is what I enjoy the most about it. But what a lot of people don't know is that when I'm not doing the show with Gareth on Wednesday mornings and when I'm not doing live with Lebang, I actually work at Cliff Central. Like it's also my 9 to 5 in inverted commas. So
okay,
between Monday and Friday, we're doing all the background work. I'm head of creative there. So I'm just
okay,
busy approving design work, busy approving social media content decks. I'm busy arranging meetings with clients. I'm just managing some clients. So there's a lot of stuff that happens in the background that, nobody will even know about. It just kind of looks like we come there and we talk and we go home. Oh no, we are working.
working. No, for sure. And
Yeah.
I remember I had Ryan on the show as well, and he was like, he gets home sometimes 9, 10 at night, and
Yeah. He's a workaholic though. He
yeah.
is
No,
a
he's a Virgo.
workaholic.
I don't know if you're into the star signs.
Yeah. Well, I know I'm a Gemini, and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't really like read the horoscopes anymore. And
No.
I don't go that deep, but yeah, I kind of believe in it, like entry level.
Okay. No, listen, I do a show. I do a show sort of once a month or so. Well, when I can, on the moon. I call it La Luna, and I dress up with a white face and crazy makeup, and I talk about the horoscopes and and I do a bit of that. But I think there's definitely, like, I think Gareth's mentioned, there's these big, vast bodies of celestial orbs and things that exist that have to give some sort of trajectory to our daily
100%.
lives. You know,
100%.
I'm not like, I don't read the dailies, I don't, but I think there's definitely connections when it comes to earth, like the elementals, like earth
Oh,
and
for
fire,
sure. For
and
sure.
and air and air and air and
Yeah.
fire and yeah.
For sure. Like how I describe it or envision it is just like it boils down to energy. I say this often that like energy doesn't lie. I believe that energy is in everything. It's not just in
Mhm.
us as people, it's not just like in the plants outside, it's in the walls, it's in our phones, it's in
Right.
everything that we touch. There's a certain amount of energy, and like we essentially decide how much we put in or take out. That's why, like, if you walk into a room where there's just like a bunch of sad people, you come out feeling a little bit drained because you've just been
Mm,
sucked of whatever you had left that was pleasant. So I feel like definitely we're all connected. Definitely there's like a spiritual realm that exists that's operating in the curtains at the back. We're just in front of the stage all the time. We can't see what's
right,
happening backstage, but
right.
there's like our forefathers are there, our grandparents who have passed on are there. There's things and just lights that I believe are guiding us.
Okay.
And I mean, some people may not believe in that, and that's cool, to each his own. But like, I know that I'm here as a result of, my ancestors. If it weren't for them, hey, I'd be screwed.
No, for
So
sure.
we all have our
Definitely due
thing,
to our ancestors.
Yeah.
Um, is messing with my life. My car's weird noises. So White
It's
Zulu is a bit of a jokester. She likes to messing with my life for sure. My car's making weird noises. All right. Remember, it comes
Yikes.
in threes, White Zulu. Threes. I've had sixes this year. But anyway. Um no. So in energies, and I wanted to talk to you about, like, because I get that vibe that you believe in, ancestors and energies, and it's so
Mm, mm,
important to keep your life on the path to
mm,
every day, each day. what
mm.
happens what happens on a day where you feel blah? How do you get yourself up and going? Like, what
Yeah.
motivates you?
So, Ruth, there's like many, many days where I wake up and I'm like, do I have to? Nah. Like, days just aren't the same. There's days that are just so good. You wake up and you just want to go for it. And then truly, there are just days when you're like, I would rather just be sitting here and just mope in my bed all day. Hopefully, no one will notice. But I think I'm just very, very blessed. Like, there's this thing that my kids do where they just kind of barge into my room, and it's like an on-off switch. They just kind of, and then my mood is changed
Mhm.
100%. And even if they're
Mhm.
coming in crying, I'm like, oh, no, no, I'm so sorry. Come, come, come. I'm like, this is why I do it. If they're coming in and they're pulling each other's hair, I just calm them down, and I'm like, this is exactly why I do it. It's just no longer about me. And I think for so long, it hasn't been about me. It stopped being about me a long time ago. And I
Fair
just had
enough.
to kind of like trick my mind into getting out of that thing of, oh well, I don't feel like it, so I'm just gonna chill. It's not about that. It's not about how I feel. It's about, my kids that need me to get up. It's about, my followers that need that inspiration from me. It's about the people at the office. When I get to Cliff Central, if half of the staff is like really moody, I'm literally the only person that's going to walk in there and be like, hey guys, let's do this. Whoop, whoop. Literally all the time. Like, if you ever get a
Sure.
chance to interview Rena, you must ask her. I literally always walk in. I'm the only person who doesn't show their problems. Whilst back at the ranch, a lot is happening, but I just try to be the light in the room. I try to
Man.
to bring joy, and I kind of feel like that's a part of my purpose. So that's
Mm.
what makes me stand up. It's not about me. I know that there's somebody out there who needs to see my smile. There's somebody out there who needs me to just like hug them and just shake them out of their bad mood, just because it's so easy to slip into that
Mm.
man, that depression,
Mm.
that negativity that the world wants us so badly to get sucked into. I'm starting to
Mm.
feel like the world is just desperate for us to all be sad. Everything is
Yeah.
bad news. Everything is negative. Blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. The
Yeah.
price of living is going up. The price of bread is going up. Gas is going up. Everything is going up except for our
Mm.
salaries. We get
Yeah.
it, right? But you're breathing.
On
Somebody,
our own. We're
you
breathing,
know what I
taking a
mean?
breath on our own. We're not assisted. We're not,
Yeah,
there's so much.
yeah.
I've had so many amazing stories on this channel. One of them
Mm,
being a loyal follower of Cliff Central, Marco Piotrowski.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, he's been on the show. He's an inspiration to me. And the truth is, our default setting in our brains is to think negative. It's a terrible thing. It's a terrible, terrible
It
thing.
sucks.
But
It
it does
sucks.
suck. But I mean, your name literally means love of freedom, the love of, you know, an
Mm.
individual, free spirited individual, and I think you definitely put that across.
Well,
So
I certainly hope so. All I can do is to be myself. I remember, Ruth, a couple of years ago, I read somewhere that every time like we have like a bad thought or we experience something bad, um, that initial 12 minutes of how we react to that thing is like the decider. So basically, if you get a call about some shitty news, that first 12 minutes of like, oh no, this news sucks. Once that 12 minutes is up,
mm,
you can then decide to let it go or continue. So, what most of us do is continue. We keep living in that problem and living in that
mm,
sorrow and living in that gak, which again, it's like, it's kind of a wrong setting in the human buildup, but that's what we do. But if you can like trick your mind, if you say, the 12 minutes is up, you can let that thing go. You
okay.
can let it go. But most of us
Mhm.
just kind of, we don't mind moping. We just want to like wallow in the problem and
I
just
think
complain about everything.
it's easier. It's
Yes.
harder. It's
Yeah.
harder to put on the brave face and smile and go, okay.
Sure. Everything is
Um,
fine. The house is burning. Yay.
God
Yeah. But
forbid. No,
I
I
also
don't hope
like,
anyone's passes. And who in your life would you say, have you had one mentor or several? And if who were
hmm,
they?
so I've had a couple of mentors, and like most of them didn't even know they were mentoring me at the time. I was just like in the background watching everything, taking notes, just being visible. I never really went up to anyone and shook their hand and said, "Will you be my mentor?" I just
No,
kind
sure.
of, stood in the background and just like watch people work. There's a lady by the name of Farah Fortune. She's like a PR powerhouse. She's a pit bull in heels. That's what she calls herself. She kind of gave me like my first big break in the entertainment industry. She just let me hang around her, and I would
Okay.
just sit around, watch her do her thing, take notes, watch how she speaks to people, watch how she communicates.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Same with another PR powerhouse, Melanie Ramsey. She was just like, dude, when I need you, come through. So these are like women who, again, I never went to them and said, hi, I'm looking for a mentor. Would you be that person?
No,
I
sure.
just said, I just kind of always availed myself to them. There's also a lady she's one of the biggest, I guess, club managers in Johannesburg. Her name is Joe Budiba. She's the Vinyl Angel. She's
Uh-huh.
just another one who she gave me my first break when I was 16. She was working, I think she was put hosting events at the time, and she just needed a door girl. And so I was like, I'll do it for like $50 a night. And there I was manning the door, smiling at people. And that's where I kind of got my people skills, going and like built my confidence and just like having conversations and not being afraid to say what's on my mind and encouraging people or whatever the case is. And
Mm,
it just
mm,
got better and better and better.
mm.
So I've been very fortunate in that kind of every little industry that I dabble into, there's women that are at the front of that who say,
Right.
come along with me on this journey. Let's go. Let's see what
That's
you can do. Let's see
awesome.
what you can take away. So I've been very, very, very blessed.
Very awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great when women collaborate and step up for other women. I think it's
Oh yeah.
so important.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, so I really appreciate you being on my show.
Of
So
course.
thank you.
Of course. I really wouldn't miss this for the world. Like we've been trying to make this happen. So I'm just glad we um finally made the time. Like,
Yeah.
can you
And
hear
like
my
I,
kids in the back? Like they're busy losing their minds, wondering where I am.
well, if you do you need to go? Do you need to go
No, no, no,
for
no. Ruth, the
yes?
beauty about having a husband is
Oh
this.
right.
I
Yes,
can
yes.
do my thing while he takes care of all the babies.
And how many babies is it, if I may ask?
So
Exactly.
It right now it's three under three. We've got a 3-year-old girl, a 2-year-old
Sure.
girl, and a 1-year-old girl. And then our boys are a bit bigger. They are 9 and 11. So it's a full house.
Wow. And do the boys
Yeah,
help out at all? Or they're
they
just
really
busy being
do.
boys? Oh,
No,
do they?
they are such angels. They help with
Oh,
making the bottles. They want to make the beds with the baby sisters. They want to get the diapers for us and the nappies for us in the other room. They just want to be involved. They're like deputy parents. It's literally free labor. But it's great because it also kind of is teaching them responsibility very, very quickly.
mhm.
They help making cereals in the morning. They are so involved. I know for sure that if ever I'm not around, everything is fine. Everything is fine.
Yeah. And look who's come to say
Oh,
hello.
hi, Dave.
Yeah. Mr. Hardy Dave and I've
Hi,
walked the
Dave.
journey. Yeah, yeah. He's walked
Mm,
this journey with me since I literally nearly began. So, which
that's
was
very
in
nice.
2020.
That's
So,
very,
yeah.
very nice. How is having the show for you, Ruthie? Sorry, I know I'm the one getting interviewed, but like, how is your experience being able to connect with people in this way that you do?
So I love people. I love people.
Mm,
I love like you also finding the joy in them,
mm,
um, bringing them up, helping them, seeing the good in themselves.
mm,
The only thing that I am hard on myself is, or not hard enough, is being consistent. And I know you
sure.
need to be consistent.
Mm, mm,
Um, at the moment, and I say at the moment because the universe is listening. Um,
sure.
I have a very
Sure.
demanding job,
Mm,
and I need to find another space, and I
okay.
think that will make me feel more confident and more sort of mindful to do the
Yeah.
show, you
Yeah.
know, on a more regular basis.
Sure.
I say load shedding hasn't helped. Obviously, we used to have a UPS which lasted for about a year and a half, and then it died, and then we thought, no, what,
Mm,
not gonna bother with that again. But we'll look into it
sure.
again as things get better. As you say,
Mm,
there's always something happening. We've had, like I say, things come in threes. So
yeah.
this year's come in
Yeah.
sixes. But the show for me, yeah, I do enjoy it, and it
I'm
was something
glad.
that I wanted to start. So
I'm
yeah.
glad, dude. I think you must just like keep pushing. Sometimes we really overthink. Like, am I doing it right? Do I have the right this? Do I have the right that? And all you need to do is just look around you and take what you've got and just start. And I understand fully that consistency battle. It's like an internal battle with self. Like, can I do this? Do I have enough resources? Do I have the right time?
Mm,
Do I have the right this,
mm,
the right that? You just need
mm,
to push yourself further. Like I said before we started, like only you can hold yourself accountable. If the
mm.
show ends up not being consistent, look around, there's nobody else to blame but yourself.
Yeah.
And I think you're kind of in a place where you're pushing to be your best self, so all you can do is just keep on being your best self. Like, I promise you, there are people that need you to see that the show
Mm,
has to become more consistent. They want to hear from you all the time. They want to
mm,
hear from you. Like, they just want to know, who's Ruth going to bring on this week? Sure. And if you can keep seeing it about like that, and
mm,
seeing that
mm.
it's not about you. We love you, Ruth, but it's just not about you. Literally, we just want to sit and consume your thoughts and consume your guest thoughts, and people need to hear what you have to say. That
Oh,
should be like
brilliant.
the push.
The
Let that
push.
be the
Okay.
push.
Push. Well, you've definitely given me something to seriously think about and to take
Mm,
responsibility on, because that's what,
sure.
yeah, that's definitely what I need.
I got you.
So thank you. And
Anytime.
then, I sort of want to, I mean, you listen to the show, and there's
Mm,
obviously a lot of controversy. When do you think, as a mom in South Africa, I mean, I
mm,
know they've now brought sex education into the schools, right? But
mm.
as a mom, when do you think you'll feel comfortable talking about sex with your kids? As soon as they ask questions, obviously
Mm.
appropriate
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, this is a good one because not very long ago, I was
Mm-hmm.
at my son's school, and the principal, and this was when he was in grade 4, beginning of this year. And the principal was like, hey, if any of you think that your children are not exposed to pornography at this very moment, then I must just inform you that you are incorrect. Your kids know what sex is, they've seen it. So use that information, don't use it. Obviously, all the parents were like, oh my God, how dare she? There's no way. I was like, shit. This means I need to get active now. And I
Mm.
need to, take responsibility for this conversation. Because if
Right.
I don't, then the internet will, their friends will, other sources will, and then I won't be able to control it. So I think, once your child is ready to almost like, it's just so tricky. Once your child, for example, is using the internet or any sort of device every day, if your child is using a phone or a tablet or just has access to internet, you
Mm-hmm.
first have to have the conversation about the best usage of the internet, what not to do, how to use. I mean, in my adult life, I'm still trying to figure out the internet, so it's not like I've
Yes.
got it all on lock, but these kids are quicker, they faster, they process things way better than I ever did. So my first thing is, where can this child get exposed to sex other than from me? It's definitely online, right? So first,
Mm-hmm.
let's manage the online thing, manage the kind of apps that the child is using, manage the kind of time being spent. So I really have like a hold on what my kids are doing on their tablets. I get notifications whenever they open apps, whenever they download stuff. So I'm pretty much on top of it. But I mean, that's not the bigger thing.
Mm-hmm.
It got to a point where we had to sit him down and say, look, this is a woman's body. How you treat a woman's body is in such and such a way.
Mm-hmm.
If you see it, just online, press the little X button at the top, because essentially you're too young to understand it now. But when you become of age, we'll walk you through that process. So what that has done for us is that the kids trust us with certain questions. They never hold back. If they see boobs, they run to us. Oh, mom, dad, look, boobs on the screen. Why do boobs keep popping up? Blah, 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 blah. That's us building that trust with them, so that if ever something worse comes up, then they must feel like they can come and talk to us about it. The last thing I want is for my kids to grow up like how I did. I didn't get the talk. I didn't get the birds and the bees. I was just like, I had to learn by myself, which was, I think, like something that my parents could have done a little bit better.
Mm.
Because I did learn by myself. I've got 5 kids, for crying out loud. But, but you know, it,
Not all
I
the-
just yeah, it just, there's no right age. You as a parent decide when is the right time. However, once your
Mm.
child is now exposed to things outside, at school, other kids, and you can see that, okay, cool, the child is ready, because kids are different. Some, like in my household, my 11-year-old is like completely uninvolved in any of that. Like, he uses his tablet at school, he puts it down when he comes home, he's reading books all night. My
Excellent.
nine my 9-year-old is watching YouTube all day. So the kids
Mm.
are different, right?
Mm.
So the 9-year-old is the one where we like, okay, cool. This is what this is. Da, 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 da. The 11-year-old is just like, oh, life is great. I just want to sing songs and dance. Let's go. Like, they completely different humans. All of them are these individual aliens that I need to manage individually. So I can't
Mm.
sit all
Mm.
my kids down and have like a group chat and say, hi, all 5 of you, this is what sex is. It's not going to
No,
work. Some
no.
are boys, some are girls. So because my 2 boys are the oldest, what I'm teaching them is, this is a woman's body. This is how we respect a woman's body. You're going to see women's bodies everywhere, but you've got 3 sisters. And because you've got 3 sisters, you have to make sure that you treat women's bodies with respect, treat women with respect. And the number one place where they see that is how my husband treats me. That is
Man.
the
Key.
key indicator of how should men treat women. They literally just see it every single day in the household.
100%.
And
100%. So
it
true.
be like that.
Kids don't do what they told, they do what they see.
100%.
I mean, mine is now 3 weeks away from being 18.
Oof,
I
that
can't
is a
believe it.
grown. That is a grown.
Grown big time. Like I saw a Facebook memory, him on his little plastic bike, and I was like,
Mm,
"Geez, like where's the years gone?" But
yeah,
when he started asking me, when he
yeah.
was about 7, 8, 9, that age, that curious age,
Mm,
10, I said
mm,
to him, "Mommies and daddies are different."
mm.
Um, Look, I'm not going into the whole woke thing because we're not that kind of
Yeah,
minded
not that kind of
family.
body. Yeah.
No, um, we're still quite mentally sane in that department.
I
but
like it for
um,
you.
but yeah, so he's I'm proud to say I think still a virgin. I think he's been
Mm.
cautious, and I remember he goes on holiday camps quite a lot,
Okay.
and I went and I bought him the condoms.
Oh, good,
And I
good.
and I said to him, "Do you know how to?" And he was like shocked, like, "What do you expect me to do with these?" And I'm like,
Mm,
"It may happen, it may not happen, but if it does
mm.
happen, you got something."
That is so nice. Like, you're so sweet as a mom. Like, I wish I had a mom that was like that open and like that cool and like giving me
Oh,
condoms and stuff like that. It's actually it's funny. I was just telling my husband the other day that I want to raise, and I'm going to say this as politically correct as possible, but I want to raise my kids like how the white kids in my school were raised. The white kids in my school were smoking with their parents. Their boyfriends were allowed in the house, and
sure.
this was like, we would sit there like, what? Our parents didn't even know we were dating. We'd get like
You see,
ass whipped.
you see,
We'd get into so much shit.
but this is the thing. Like you say, like white, black, right? But I know there was a Portuguese girl in my school. I mean,
Yeah.
she fell pregnant at a very tender age.
Mm.
And I'm not going to give too many details away, but because her parents never had a conversation with her at all. I mean,
Yeah.
we once joked with her in grade 5, well, back then, grade 7, sorry, standard 5,
Standard
that
five. Yeah. Sure. We're exposing our ages here. Oof. Mm.
she thought she could fall pregnant if she had her menses and French kissed a boy. And we were
Mm.
like, no, 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 and she ended up
Mm.
being probably having sex the first time, probably falling pregnant that time.
Mm.
And look, her life is great. I'm sure she's happy and she's got 2 kids now and
Mm.
but you have to be honest at least, and you have to develop that trust, I believe, with our kids. And it's,
100%.
yeah,
No,
no,
100%.
definitely.
I'm seeing a comment here from
Yes,
Arbot, and he's
yes.
saying he completely disagrees with parents being chummies with their kids. So I just want to elaborate on that. There's a time when you become chummies with your kids. It's not throughout the whole parenting period. From birth till like 8, you still, you're disciplining, you're almost like
Mm,
guiding, you're still instilling values, all of that stuff. From around like preteen till like 14,
mm,
that's when you sort of kind of start to let go because your child is starting to do their own thing and starting to
mm,
think for themselves. Once you have a full-blown teenager, that is only when you can start fully viewing them as, like, this is somebody that I can have these kinds of conversations with as far as like leveling. But
mm,
that doesn't mean that you're being friends with your child in like those early years. In those early years, you have to still put your foot down because you are the
100%.
parent and they are the child. I think what we're trying to say tonight is that be open with your child in those first years. At least allow them to build the trust so that once they do become teenagers, give them the condoms. Let the kid, if they're going to want to smoke and try weed and do all these things, would you rather that happens under your nose, or would you rather that happens in the
Exactly.
streets with
Exactly.
random strangers? If my child
Exactly.
says, Mom, I want to smoke weed, I have to smoke weed, I'm going to say, okay, cool. I'll roll it up for them, and I'll say, go outside and smoke. They'll get over it so quickly because I'm
Uh,
not going to be smoking with them. I'm not going to be
mm,
like, whoop, whoop, let's go. But if they are doing this with their friends behind my back, then I can't control it anymore. Then I'm no
100%.
longer I'm no longer that source of advice and that source of trust that they can come to with new things. So, there's definitely different phases in life, and depending on the phase that your child is in, that will almost or should dictate how you treat your child. But Yeah, what I was referring to with the girls in my high school, I mean, obviously it's not all of them, but Ruth, they were just getting away with murder. They were
Was it?
just like, they would go for sleepovers with their boyfriends, and they would do all these like things that, as a young Black South African, I was like, whoa, I know we can't do anything like that. But I noticed later on that it was kind of helpful that they could have that openness in a way with their
Mm,
parents,
mm,
because there was no lack of trust. There was no dishonesty. They didn't need to lie about anything. Whereas we had to
okay.
tippy toe and, sneak out of the house every weekend and just do things that kids want to do, but behind our parents' backs, which kind of made it sucky. But I guess it's also just like learning and unlearning certain things and just boundaries and figuring out what works
Mm,
for you,
mm, mm,
etc., etc.,
mm.
etc.
I see Arbat's being very like concerned parent here, like but my dad always said to me, okay, my dad was actually, it's crazy, my dad was, he was old enough to be my grandfather. Okay, when
Yeah.
I was, I think, 10 or 12, he was 56. So he
Oh,
was,
okay.
yeah, he was, I was a lot lamiki. And he always said to me, you want to do something, do it in front of me. You don't
Mm,
sneak around. You don't lie to me. You don't whatever.
sure.
Um, my mother, I think she was more cautious. She was more
Okay.
worried. She told me a crazy story about how the birds and the bees happen, and I had a totally different experience. It was actually quite embarrassing. Like, she told me
We
boys
have
have
time.
seeds. We boys have seeds, and
Okay.
I expected well, I don't know, I just got quite a shock that it wasn't seeds.
Mm.
It sounds ridiculous. It sounds so stupid, but it was like, I mean, obviously we learned in high school that
Mm.
it's not quite that, but you don't really expect your first encounters as your first encounters, if that makes any
Sure.
sense.
No, for sure.
Um,
And also I think Ruthie back then, as far as like access to information goes, I don't think most parents really had an idea of even how to do it the right way. Like
mm,
how to tell your kids about the birds and the bees. Now you can just Google that and get,
yeah.
a video from like a clinical psychologist who's going to tell you the exact way to do it so that you can do it. Back then, I think everyone was kind of winging it or would just
Mm,
kind of do it the way that they were told. Whether it was right
mm.
or wrong didn't matter. You just kind of repeat what you did or what you were taught growing up. There's this beautiful, almost like it's like a short story that
Mhm.
Rena loves to share. I think you really should get Rena on your show. She's like the
She,
bomb.
she won't.
She
She
won't,
won't. I
yeah,
asked
but
her
just keep
years. I asked
trying
her
her.
already years ago. She
Yeah,
won't.
she won't. So she always shares the story of like a mom cooking like a piece of ham in the kitchen. So she
Mhm.
takes this ham, she puts it on the chopping board, she grabs this huge knife, and she slices the ham on both sides, and then she puts what's left of it into the pot. So her daughter's like, Mom, why do you cut the ham on both sides? She goes, Geez, actually, I don't know. This is just the way we were taught. Let's actually ask your granny. They get Granny on the line. "Grr, grr, hey, Granny, how's it? Listen, so you know your famous recipe of cutting the ham on the side? Why did we do that?" And then the Granny goes, I don't know. That's just the way that my mom told me. You know what? Let me call her quickly. And she gets her mom on the line. And they say, Granny, or great Granny, your famous recipe of ham, why do we cut the ham on the sides before we put it into the pot? And then the granny goes, Well, we just did that back in the day because our pots were actually so
Yes.
tiny that there was no space to fit the whole ham in there in its fullness. And every time she shares that story, I always sit there and I'm like, it's hectic how we just kind of take things the way we were taught and we just rinse and repeat without ever really questioning like why are we doing it like this? Because definitely now the pots are big enough, but look at us just cutting away at good old ham that we can
Mm.
be eating.
There's the Jewish version to that story about the challah.
Ah, okay. It's
You
probably
know,
the same story because
it's
she is
similar. It's
Jewish.
similar to how
Yeah,
the rabbi cuts the challah, and
yeah.
Beverly goes to Mabel's house, but Mabel, your husband's cutting the challah the wrong way. She goes, why? When I was at the rabbi, he cut it the other way,
Uh,
crossways, not sideways. And then they
uh,
went to the rabbi and said, because I had to feed all the people. And they had to
yeah.
go further. So,
Mm.
yeah, good analogy. Good analogy.
Ruth, what is challah? I'm just very
Okay, sorry.
curious. Yeah.
Cool. So, challah is the platted bread
Uh-huh.
that we eat on the Sabbath. So
Uh-huh.
it's like a white, beautiful seeded dough that we
Yeah.
plait. I'm sure you've seen
Okay.
them.
I'm
They
sure
look
I've
like
seen it, like the
I haven't.
flattened
I'm not
one.
going to go and share my screen and click on
No, no,
buttons.
it's
That
okay. I'll
won't
just
get
like
me.
if I'm that curious, I'll just Google
It's
challah.
spelled
So is
mm,
it GA?
no Challah, and then
Challah.
on
Challah.
challah. And then on Jewish New Year, which is also coming up in a couple of weeks' time, we eat
Mm.
round ones with
Oh,
like
there it is. Yes, I've seen that.
honey and raisins and cinnamon and yum.
Okay. Well, in my language, challah means, well, it's pronounced challah. It means to almost when you see somebody eating something and then you want
Mm.
some of it as well, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna like we say wachala, like you're
Wahala, that's so interesting.
wachala, you are, you just want something that somebody
So,
else is eating. You're not
so
really
in
hungry.
Yiddish, when we say we chalashing, you chalashing for that
Yeah.
challah. You chalashing. Like it's a
Oh,
Yiddish term. It's like, so it's similar. Like
it's so
you,
similar.
yeah, you're
That
dying for
is
that
so
piece
cool.
of
Yes,
chocolate.
that's
You're
exactly what it
chalashing for
is.
that chocolate.
Wachala. Yeah, it's totally the same thing.
Wahala. Okay, that's
Yeah.
cool. That's so
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, we've
Hmm.
broken boundaries there.
Look at us.
What's the time? How are we doing? We should do a
It's
quick.
21:21. Put up your
Yeah.
candles.
Yeah. So I just want to say, what do you last sort of wrap it up? What
Okay.
is the best experience you've had thus far in life? Would you say? And I
Oy.
know what you're going to say, probably.
Best experience. It's probably gonna be so predictable. But the best experience that I had was a couple of months ago. I went to what's that place in the Eastern Cape? I went bungee
Not the
jumping.
truth. Oh,
At
or it'd be gorge.
no, yes, yes. No,
Or
no, no,
it'd
no,
be
no.
gorge.
That I did last year. That was in Mpumalanga. That I did
Okay.
last year, and then this year I went to, I think was it not Titikama? It's like
Could
the
be.
highest bungee jump in the world.
Yes, and it's here in South
Yeah,
Africa.
it
It's not
is.
Orubi Gorge. Blow,
Blowkrans Bridge Bungee.
blow.
Yeah, it's the
Come on,
world's
Hardy Dave. Blow cons.
highest commercial bungee jumping site at 260 meters. It really, I didn't grow
Brave
up,
girl.
bruh. I didn't grow up with like this adventurous streak, and I was never like that girl that's gonna like fly out of an airplane or like climb up this and that mountain. I was just kind of living my life, enjoying music, lying. And then last year I did a one of the jumps in Pumalanga, and I was like, this is amazing. And
You got
then
dead.
this year, my best friend and I did it together, and I can't really use there's no words in the English dictionary that I can use to describe what that really felt like. It was so scary at the same time. It was just, I felt so close to God. I felt
Oh,
so close to God in those moments just because I could feel that at any point I could just stop living right now. If this thing snaps, bye. But it was just such a fulfilling feeling because I did it and I would do it again and again and again. And it's not, those kinds of things aren't just for like adrenaline junkies. It's
yeah.
it's just it's if you want to really push yourself to just step out of your everyday mind, because we're so trapped in our minds, Ruth. We spend so much time in there lying to ourselves,
Yep.
pressurizing ourselves,
Yep.
um, doubting ourselves. So, in
Preach it.
those 30 seconds where I'm just not in control of anything, that for me was just, I would do it every day.
Hmm.
I would do it every day. I
Brilliant.
really would. If I
Well,
could
it's
afford
bit
it,
you.
I would.
I say the bug has bit you.
I believe so. I believe so. Yeah.
Alrighty, I don't want to keep you too long, and we've been hacking already for nearly 45 minutes. So,
Really, it doesn't feel like it, hey?
mm-mm,
It really didn't
mm-mm.
feel like it. You know, when you just start talking and like the flow. And,
I mean, I usually ask guests a quick 10 questions. They're like, quick. Shall we do
mm,
it?
let's
Shall we do
go.
it? Do you want to go?
Is it
Let's
like
go.
a yes or no, or is it like a I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
respond
Okay,
however?
so what is your favorite word?
Blessings,
Blessings. What is your least favorite word?
hate.
Okay. What turns you on? And I mean, like, no, no, not sexually.
I was actually gonna call him. He's just in the next room. You're more than welcome to meet him.
Okay. What gets you excited, should I say?
Oh man, my kids, my
Okay.
kids.
What
Yeah.
turns you off?
Oh. Like when old people start talking about how sick and old they are, you know,
Okay.
and yeah, when they just hop on about that.
What sound or noise do you love?
The river in the
The
early
river.
morning at like 4 a.m. I just want to hear that. Like, I love it.
Love it. Very cool. The ocean. Yeah. What
Mm-mm.
time of day is your favorite?
3 a.m. because I
3
wake up to pray every morning at 3 a.m.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool.
Mhm.
Um, what's your favorite curse word?
Fuck. And I
Okay.
blame Gareth. I blame Gareth for that. Every single morning it's, hi Lebang, how you doing? Fuck, I'm so tired of it. And now we're just like a bunch
Fuck,
of
fuck,
curses.
fuckity fuck.
And Rena hates it. She hates it.
Shame. Shame. Yeah, no,
We're
it's
gonna have a swear
yeah.
jar very soon and it's gonna be full, I
Ooh.
can tell you that.
Yeah, and where the word comes from is even worse. But anyway, okay, another quickly one.
Yeah.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Oh, I'd really like to, try and be an actress, like a full blown actress. Like it's not what I do, but I'd like to, just for fun.
If heaven exists, what would you like
Hmm.
to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Oh, God will probably say something like, you know, it's high time, and sorry I took you so late. Because I know that I'm not gonna die young. He's gonna like save me to the end. Like people that die
You
young,
and
we
me
always
both,
like,
girl. I got a
"Ah,
long lifeline.
I've got so much that I'm still gonna do, and I know it. And like I'm just watching people get taken, and I'm like, oh, they're so lucky. I just know God's gonna be like, bro, I had to leave you last because like there's this, you had work to do, and I needed you to do the work, and you've done it. Welcome home. That's the
Okay.
conversation we're gonna have.
Amen. Amen. Brilliant stuff. Alrighty. Well, we're going to say goodbye to our wonderful viewers
Yeah.
and
Okay.
hang in there
Bye,
for 2 seconds.
everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cheers,
Yes.
everybody. Take care.
Yes,
Have a
Hardy
great rest
Dave.
of
I
your week.
live by a river. You can come visit sometime. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out. This was cool. Thank
Cool.
you.
Cool beans.
Au revoir.
TTFN.